Welcome to the Record Night Podcast. I'm Collin, joined by Jake, Joe, and Kyle. Record Night is a podcast where we listen to vinyl records in their entirety and then attempt to have a discussion about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoy.
Every one of my records means something. The label, the producer, the year it was made.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
All right, so it's Friday night. Here we are. It's Record Night. I'm very excited about this Record Night. I've been waiting for this Record Night for a long time. The record I'm doing tonight, I actually did on the first Record Night. So before we get to last week or anything like that, what do you guys? Joe knows this record a little bit, I would say, but Jake, what do you remember about this one?
I can't differentiate between them, really.
Any of the Warren Zevon ones, you mean?
No, yeah, there's nothing that super memorable. I know I liked one a lot more than the others, which I think is the most recent one we heard.
Of Sentimental Hygiene, yeah.
Yeah. Sentimental Hygiene.
That's a great song, and you actually probably didn't like that song, really.
Well, I lied.
I'm excited to do this one because last time we did, well, first of all, on the first Record Night we did, it was this record, All the Beauty in This Whole Life by Brother Ali, which I'm a huge fan of.
Got his new record, by the way.
What's that?
Got his new record on vinyl, by the way. So.
Oh, Brother Ali's new record, nice.
Yes, sir.
Also, The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan by Bob Dylan.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's when we were doing three records.
That first night, yeah.
The good old 6-hour record.
Yeah.
2 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, Jake, you missed out on Neil Young because you were falling asleep.
That was great.
That was very difficult to stay awake. It wasn't not the music at all, but I recall like being into it, and all of a sudden I would come to it as like, what the fuck happened to the past three songs? And I'd look around, and everybody else I think was also in a similar predicament.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm excited for this one particular because we sort of just played it. We didn't have lyrics. So because I'm so familiar with this one, I'm going to lay out the context a little bit, and I think that'll help.
Okay.
And also, as I've mentioned on previous podcasts, I got a new remastered version of the record, and it sounds 10 times better than the original that I had.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm excited about that. So let's see. Joe, do you have a favorite song off of this record?
Well, it's between two. It's between Desperados Under the Eaves, which is the last song.
Yep.
And hold on, let me look. One more. And Mohammed's Radio. Mohammed's Radio is probably my favorite.
Yeah. So, this was in essence Warren Zevon's debut. He did have one record before. He's kind of a weird guy because he had success when he was really young. When he was 19 years old. He was part of a duo called Lyman Cybele, and so they cut a couple singles for White Whale Records, and that's in like the mid '60s, I think like 1966.
Wow. I didn't know that.
They came out with a few singles. One of them was Like the Seasons, and the Turtles picked that up, and they made that the B-side on Happy Together. So he enjoyed royalties from that, and then he came out with his actual first record in 1969, Wanted Dead or Alive. But it was sort of a disaster. He insisted on playing all the instruments by himself, so he had no session players or anything. His producer quit like halfway through production, and it sort of flopped. And so then he really kind of gave up on a musical career at that point, was just working as a songwriter in Los Angeles. So this record we're going to listen to tonight is from 1976. In 1975, he left the country, he moved to Spain, and was content to just kind of live out his life there, but Jackson Browne sent him a postcard and said, hey, come home, I'll get you a recording contract. So then he comes home, and they made this record. So it's I never thought of it as a concept record, but it is. It's about Los Angeles, and all the songs kind of seem fragmented, I think, at first, and then it kind of all comes together at the last song, and then it sort of makes sense. So let me see. I read an interesting review of this record from, let's see. This is literaryhub.com, lithub.com. The guy who wrote this is Joseph Knox, and let's see. I recommend you read the whole thing, but I'm not going to right now. So this guy goes through kind of all the different tracks and what he thinks they mean. But then he says, I'm not here to talk about that. I want to talk about the album's final track, Desperados Under the Eaves. The song, so an interesting thing that you'll hear in the beginning, the song opens, the very first song and the last song open with the same notes. It's in a different key.
It's strings, right? It's like
Yeah, it's a piano open on the beginning and then strings at the end.
Yeah.
While you looked it up, I have to say this beer is fantastic.
Oh, nice.
Beer Wolf.
I think you got to pronounce it like
Beer Wolf.
Beer Wolf.
Beer Wolf instead of Beowulf.
Dunkelweizen.
Yeah.
It's a cold brew coffee, chocolate, and orange peel creep deep into the heart of this German style Dunkelweizen, transforming a once traditional brew into a hauntingly decadent hybrid.
Oh.
Yeah, this needs to touch my lips.
I'm sold.
Yeah. Say it is awfully decadent.
You had me sold at this.
This.
So this is Follow Me. This is one of the Lyman Seibel singles. This is from 1966.
Stars are hidden beneath my lids. I just can't keep on going now. Young
Very 60s.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
eyes are calling you, are calling me, and I will follow behind you. Tell me where we're going to. Stars are hidden.
it's crazy. I mean, obviously he was 19 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never knew that he had a career before this album. Like I was
But
like,
you said he
probably
had it
a
made
songwriter.
just from this song then? Or he's like
No,
request
this is
single?
just to give an indication. I mean, this is from a decade earlier than the record came out. So he's 19 at the time.
Okay, was this his group then?
Yeah, it was just him and a girl.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I got confused with the ones he was earning.
And that, so the one, I'll do the Turtles
Oh, yeah, the
version of
Turtles.
it. But
Turtles are good.
Turtle.
I have learned that love can turn like the seasons. And I know
so
you had to go. You've got your reasons.
so anyway, that's primarily how he was making his money, was writing songs. Pretty much after that the duo ended.
It hurts me not knowing, and I believe that love's.
So, with this guy, in this review that he writes, he says, the song opens with a beautiful string instrument rendition of the opening piano riff from the album's first track, and we realize with a jolt that this seedy Hollywood Hawaiian hotel is where we've been all along. So that's you'll when you listen, it'll make sense, but I think the context helps. The first song is pretty much just an accurate historical rendition of the life of Frank and Jesse James. So it seems like an outlier at first, but the outlaw theme is kind of what is relevant about it. The second song, Mama Couldn't Be Persuaded, is just about how his mom met his dad. Back's Turned, we'll get to that one. Hasten Down the Wind. This is also at the same time, he's kind of down and out. And Linda Ronstadt decided to record that song and made that an album of hers, actually, so that helped him too.
Oh.
Poor Pitiful Me, another Linda Ronstadt did that one. The French Inhaler was kind of aimed at his first wife, Tuli Livingston, who was a wannabe actress. Mohammed's Radio, interesting, we'll get to.
Great song.
Yeah, so that's the only necessary context. The rest will be up to interpretation, but all right, I'm excited about this one. We didn't talk Childish Gambino, though. We didn't talk about last week. So what do you think? I listened. That was probably just. I thought it was not the best podcast out of the ones we've done. Mm-hmm. Listening back to it, if you take a drink, good drinking, it would be take a drink every time we say the word production.
Yeah, that's literally. I was just gonna say. Well, I like the production.
Yeah,
like in my head, I was getting ready to say that. Like that's what I like the most about it. Everyone takes a drink. That's so funny.
He's got a lot of good like punchlines, like a lot of funny.
Yes, yeah, for
very
sure.
pop culture reference. Like most people could pick up on, like the
That's the one
Double
thing.
Dare, like Mark Summers and or whatever. You know.
Well, and I feel like there were 10. Like I probably picked up 10% maybe of all those, maybe less.
Yeah,
than that,
yeah.
you know
Well,
what
I
I mean?
went over
So,
my head for sure.
Sure, man. Some of those lyrics and metaphors were. It was like an I Spy game or something. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could look through it and all of a sudden it hits you and you're like, oh yeah, there it is. Like I get that.
yeah.
But I had to read back through it a couple times when we were listening to some of the songs.
Yeah, and
Missed a lot.
it's just different too. I mean, like compared to the other music we've been listening
Yeah.
to, it's just like I said last week. It's way more creative and like there's way more lyrics. Like that's why I remember like one of the things that's honest to God, one of the things that's prevented me from doing rap albums is there's so many lyrics. Like to do a lyric book for them is like. This one takes 3 fucking pages. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it doesn't fit the typical format. But
But for a hip hop album, I think it was good.
yeah.
You know, there's a lot of songs that I knew previously before we listened to the record. You know,
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
Not to mention how well it was produced.
yeah. No, it is true. I mean, it's true.
Look at this ball rolling.
How many times have you played it?
I spun it one time.
Okay.
So, and I was hesitant to do that. I wanted this to be the first one, but
Yeah.
But you had to.
Come on now.
Every time I hear a pop, I'm gonna think, wow.
You
This
ruined
could have
it.
been perfect,
You
and
ruined
instead
it.
Collin played it once.
That's what I do. Like if I buy any record, I make sure I play it at my house and then I bring it here.
People always ask me why. What's the matter with me? Nothing matters when I'm with my baby. With my back turned, looking down the path. Some may have and some may not, but I'm thankful for what I got. With my back turned, looking down the path. With my back turned, looking down the path. With my back turned, looking down the path.
That was an amazing song. That was easily my favorite so far. That reminded me of Tom Morello.
She's so many women. He can't find the one who wants his friend. So he's hanging on to half the heart. He can't have the restless part. So he tells her to hasten down the lane. Tells her to hasten down the way. I met a girl at the Rainbow Bar. She asked me if I'd beat her. She took me back to the Hyatt House. frustration. We both came down with an acute case. When the lights came up at 2, I caught a glimpse of you, and your face looked like something that rocked in a suitcase.
That's a sick line.
Your pretty face looks so wasted. Another pretty face, devastated. The French inhaler is stamped and mailed. So long, morning. She said, so long, Norman.
Okay, so quick, just a couple things I forgot to mention. Well, first of all, really good session players on this album. There's guys from the Eagles, Phil Everly, who I mentioned. So that certainly helps. I'm trying to think. Guys from the Eagles, Linda Ronstadt, the Sid Sharp strings are the strings on the record. I'm forgetting things, but anyway, what do you think so far?
I'm liking it a lot. I was obviously like apprehensive, I guess,
Uh-huh.
but I kind of gestured to you about I pointed at the subwoofer, and we
Yeah.
all know me, but like I think what was it like the second song I think had like almost a funky bass like
yeah.
Mama couldn't
like
be persuaded.
getting up
Yeah.
into it, like getting up into the higher notes. It's so funny with the guitar. I like the getting into the guts of the guitar, and with the bass, I like when people get up into the neck, which is weird. But musically, that's what caught me is it's a lot more musically. You said session players. It's a lot more musically.
Yeah.
It's nicer than I remember for sure, and that's probably
Definitely
the
sounds, the
remastered.
quality definitely sounds a lot better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
You
sure.
could hear all the little, like the little things in it.
So not only
to
is
the
it
first song.
remastered, but we kind of have a better, with the subwoofer, I mean, we have a better kind of idea of how it was intended to sound. And I think it does make a big difference.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I guess that's the point I was trying to make earlier. Like, a lot of people were kind of eager to play on this record because his name was around. It's like, oh, like Warren Zevon's putting out an album. Like, they knew him as a songwriter, so they thought it was cool that he was, so that's why.
Well, and he was gone for, like, 10 years or something like that? Like, from 66 to whenever this album came out?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he was
Pretty
writing
much, yeah.
songs and stuff, but...
Yeah, really nobody was recording them. It was kind of right around the time he put this out that people started, like, Linda Ronstadt picked up a few of his songs. And
When
that
he
sort of
was
thing.
on hiatus, did he write, like, any big songs? Like, do you know?
He wrote a lot of songs. Like they had Werewolves of London was written at the time of this record. Rolling the Headless Thompson Gunner, Excitable Boy. But they decided, like, Jackson Browne produced the record, by the way, and they just decided they didn't fit on the record. And I agree that they didn't. He was saying he regrets it. It would have been probably a bigger hit if they put those songs on it.
Yeah. That'd be
Like, but
home run after home run.
But obviously, like we talked about, it's a bit of a concept. But song by song, wrote Frank and Jesse James. Like I said, just kind of an accurate historical account. I like that both in that song and Mama Can Be Persuaded, very Western sounding. They got there's a fiddle in both songs, I believe.
Yeah.
Courtesy of David Lindley.
Yeah, I thought it was a good opening song because it tells a good story.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And it has significance in more than one song
Yep.
in this side. 2 I'm looking at right now that we'll get to. That theme, like you said earlier, it's a good opener because that theme will continue.
Mm-hmm.
And he reuses some of that, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for, that story in
Yeah.
his lyrics. That
It's a big theme for him is a narrative. He liked to, like really learn a ton about a topic and then write a song about it. So, Kyle, anything?
No specific comment on any song other than Poor Poor Pitiful Me. That was an awesome little groove.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I really enjoy just. I'm looking. I don't know any of these songs, so each song based on this first side, like you had very folky, very country, in some cases like old like rock and roll. Like I'm excited just to keep listening and see what each song kind of brings. It seems very diverse.
Yeah. Yeah, he covers, well, we'll see. The rest of the record is kind of the same way. But, Jake, you commented on Back's Turn Looking Down the Path. Did that stand up as your favorite on that side?
Yeah, easily.
He
Is that the one I said? It sounds like Tom Morello.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a song called what's that song? I guess it's not relevant, but it's one of my favorite songs on a Tom Morello record, and it just with the bass, even like musically with the bass line, it just. I almost wonder if there's some, and I'm sure there is. Obviously, being like a folk like artist, kind of, I would consider this almost folk in a way.
Yeah.
Like music for sure. I definitely hear. Now that we've gone to Tom Morello and then back to this, I totally hear like there's got to be like influence.
For sure. Yeah. He said so that Back's Turned Looking Down the Path didn't receive a lot of critical acclaim or like wasn't a big song with his fans. But he said when he was older, he thought that was the best song he ever wrote.
It's a great song.
Wow.
That second song?
No, the third
The
song.
third one, yeah.
Ah.
Well, what do you mean? Lyrically, that song's always been kind of the most elusive to me. It seems to me kind of like it's sad, like but he's grateful nonetheless. Like to me, it seems like he's reflecting as opposed like he's not on the path. His back is turned, looking back. Like.
Sure.
And it seems to be sad because he says, like, everybody always asks me why, what's the matter with me? Nothing's matter when I'm with my baby or whatever he says. So, like, in the past, like, I don't think he's with anybody anymore. It's more like he's reflecting on that. Now I take that. And then that kind of goes just right into the next song with Hasten Down the Wind.
Yeah, I like that lyric. Hit me like a ton of bricks. Had to have my outlook fixed.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the one right before that, I was caught between the years, cost me nearly all my tears. It's a poetic sort of lyric. Okay, so The French Inhaler was written, his first wife, Tuli Livingston, is kind of the target. It's not necessarily about her, but like she's the target of that song because she was an aspiring actress, and he had broken up with her. There's a lot of speculation about that song. So at the end, it ends with she said, "So long, Norman." So one take on that is that he just met a girl in this bar, and they're talking all night, and then she gets his name wrong at the end. Like his name is Warren. So long, Norman. Like.
So he imagined like this like relationship with this, but with a girl that like he just met like at a bar.
Yeah. It's tough to get a handle because it seems like they've been together. Like you said, you were an actress. I thought you'd be a star. So that seems to me like more of a lasting relationship. But the other speculation is that this song is about Marilyn Monroe and Norman Mailer. Norman Mailer wrote a biography about Marilyn Monroe. So that's the other speculation is that's why it's Marilyn Monroe and that's why she says "So long, Norman." But that's a little bit more of a reach.
Yeah.
To me, it'd be interesting if he did that. But so before we get to the backside, I talked a little bit about Desperados Under the Eaves, but you'll hear it's a true story about him being in the Hollywood Hawaiian Hotel, and so that really happened to him. He was when he was with his first wife, he would just leave for weeks at a time and live in a motel. But so this is, again, he's pretty down and out at the time, not really successful. So he was there for like 3 weeks at one point and didn't have enough money to pay the bill. So his buddy backed up his car down. Let me read. I'm referencing Warren Zevon's book, I'll Sleep and I'm Dead, The Dirty Life and Times of Warren Zevon. So this is it's a cool book. It's got a lot of his diary entries and that sort of thing, and just people kind of talking about him. Let's see. So I don't know who David Marks is, but that's who is commenting here. He says, Warren was constantly moving in and out of the place he lived with Tuli and Jordan, his son. He'd move into the Tropicana, and when he got tired of it, he'd go back home for a home-cooked meal. One night he ended up at the Hollywood Hawaiian Motel, somewhere around Gower and Yucca. He was there for a while, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and he couldn't check out because he didn't have the money to pay his bill. So one night I got my mother's station wagon and pulled it into the alley. He threw all of his stuff out the bathroom window, and we escaped without paying. So you'll hear when we get to that song, he talks about that.
One more comment I wanted to make, too, about this Poor Pitiful Me. Like I said before, that Jesse James
Oh, yeah.
Reference.
Brings it back, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the first time I noticed that. I never...
She really worked over good.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is what he was trying to say in the Jesse James song, because he was saying, like, from what I gathered, I could be completely wrong, but like the Jesse James, I don't even know, like, forgive me, I don't even know the tale of Jesse James and these, but it sounds like they were robbing like the railroads and like the barons, like people who were powerful, like, so they were considered like a poor man's hero, but they were
they do get that Robin Hood kind of.
So when he says she really worked me over good, she was just like Jesse James, that's he's making a comment about himself there, right? He's one of these barons, like he's not a good guy. So maybe it really, in like where he's talking about like reevaluating his life and shit, like maybe something happened to him that, I mean, it's interesting.
Well, there's some self-deprecation. I mean, you have that in the French Inhaler too, where he's got a couple lines, sort of the same, like all these people with no home to go home to, they'd all like to spend the night with you. Well, maybe I would too, you know. And then all these phonies in this Hollywood bar, all these friends of mine in this Hollywood bar.
Right.
He's just as phony as the rest of everybody else,
right?
You know.
Yeah, I like that line with the phonies and then friends.
Yeah. But Frank and Jesse James, a lot of people. So Frank and Jesse James do have that kind of Robin Hood persona about them. So a lot of people speculate he was that song. He was being sarcastic, you know, like in admiring the anti-hero. Like they got that persona, but they were. I mean, they did rob and kill people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like they, you know. So I don't know. But it just depends on who you listen to, I guess.
Up on the shelf, I'll sleep when I'm dead. If I start acting stupid, I'll shoot myself. Then I'll sleep when I'm dead. Carmelita, hold me tighter. I think I'm sinking down, and I'm all strung out on heroin on the outskirts of town. I said, join me in L.A. Join me in L.A.
You think Bobby Keys
That
would be
was a
playing the
saxophone
piano?
right there.
Yeah, I know.
He missed his calling in life.
God damn. Close that window. You're letting all the funk out.
Yeah.
And if California slides into the ocean, like the mystics and statistics say it will, I predict this motel will be standing until I pay my bill. Why don't the sun look angry through the trees? Don't the trees look crucified? Don't you feel like desperados under the eaves? Heaven help the one who leaves. Don't the sun look angry at me? I was sitting in the Hollywood Hawaiian Hotel I was listening to the air conditioner hum. It went.
Song hits me in the feels, man.
Which fields?
All the feels.
Nice answer.
So end of the record. The look away down Gower Avenue line. That's because when he threw all his shit in the back, they escaped down Gower Avenue when he didn't pay his bill. So.
Well, that was a great song. Join Me in L.A. was favorite.
Yeah.
Carmelita was second favorite. Those are two
Carmelita
fucking awesome songs in a row, man.
Instrumentally, anyway, like.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A lot of quick little witty lyrics along the way too.
Totally.
In Carmelita, I like he's playing solitaire with his pearl-handled deck.
Mm-hmm.
I've always assumed that to be Russian roulette.
Oh yeah. I mean,
It
pearl
sounds
handle
like he's
revolver.
talking about his 38 special.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, had a reference. So there's a couple. So he, poor pitiful me. He attempts to kill himself by laying his head on railroad tracks. And then threatens to shoot himself, and I'll sleep and I'm dead. So yeah. And then Russian roulette and Carmelita.
Personally, I like the lyric "by the Pioneer Chicken Stand."
Yeah.
I would also hang out by the Pioneer Chicken Stand. It's just relatable.
Let me tell you something, boys. And you already know what I'm gonna say. What track was that with all that funk?
Join me in LA.
Join Me in L.A.
Oh my God!
I know that odor.
Come on! What was happening here? It was like, that was an amazing fucking song. That was amazing.
Yeah, I think that defines groovy. That might be it.
He did that a few times. Join Me in LA, and then on his next record, Nighttime in the Switching Yard, is a real funky tune.
I feel like I needed some dancing shoes if I can get up.
Well, it kind of builds up. Mohammed's radio starts the side, which is interesting in its own right, but then it's kind of like indulgence up until the end when he kind of has to confront all that.
I did like that. I was thinking that the gypsy wasn't lying. All the salty margaritas in Los Angeles, I'm gonna drink them up.
I love
That's
salty
just
margaritas.
self-realization. Like, fuck.
Well, so that's who's the gypsy? I mean, that's either like a fortune teller.
Yeah, fortune teller.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because he goes to a fortune teller to know his future, but everyone knows like that's a scam. They just look at your ID or they see something about you and they make it up, and she can clearly see he's just a fucking drunk.
Yeah.
So it's funny that he uses that, like he has that own like, dude, I'm a fucking drunk. Looking at his empty coffee cup, he's probably hungover.
Well, again, I mean,
finishing up his coffee, trying to sober up.
Yep.
Well, and
He
it's a
said,
true.
Fuck, what am I doing here, man?
The fact that it's a true story makes it all the more powerful too. He really, you know what I mean, like really was a major alcoholic. Interesting note on "I'll Sleep and I'm Dead." So they had the same drummer for every song. Larry Zach, I believe, yeah. But
he was consistent.
So he's on every song except for "I'll Sleep and I'm Dead." Warren Zevon he was typically drunk. So during the recording for "I'll Sleep and I'm Dead," he like proclaimed he was born to play the drums on this song, and played the drums on "I'll Sleep and I'm Dead." So they didn't use that, but they had a different drummer come in to try to mimic what he did, like his style on that song. So Gary Moliber played the drums on the song, but it was,
That's funny.
Yeah.
We all have those self-realizations that we're just born to do something in the moment.
Yeah.
Great job, Warren. Quick, get in here.
Yeah, we're just gonna take that one and write that off to the side.
lyrically, Mohammed's Radio. Did you guys have any thoughts on that? That's been an elusive song for me for a long time.
I don't know. I just really like the song. I don't really know what it's about but once you mentioned that Stevie Nicks was the background vocal,
so Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks did the background harmonies on that.
Dude, I should revisit Stevie Nicks one of these
Oh,
weeks.
we will. I have a Fleetwood Mac album.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So
there we go.
eventually.
Sorry, so before we get to the lyrics on that, are you guys aware there was a jug on I'll Sleep When I'm Dead?
A jug?
Fritz Richmond played the jug on I'll Sleep When I'm Dead.
Need more jug.
I'm just reading the lyrics
I'm happy
here.
to know that there's a jug being played. That's...
Yeah. It's always good to know there's a jug being played.
You guys ever seen the Spoon Lady?
Probably you showed me, yes.
Home lady that plays the spoons. Like it's nobody else's business.
I think I got a handle already on the song.
Okay, go.
Okay, so he starts off by saying, everyone's restless and they've got no place to go. Someone's always trying to tell them something they already know, so their anger and resentment flow. So people, like, everyone around you, like, we're all, like, resentful over something. Like, something's eating at us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, like he says, even, the sheriff, who's, like, this guy who's, like, in power, has got his problems, too, and he'll surely take them out on you.
Yeah, that's my favorite line.
In walks the village idiot, and his face is all aglow. He's been up all night listening to Mohammed's radio. So, the guy who's actually... I almost took that as, like, the homeless guy. We're all angry and resentful, right? And yet, in comes this homeless guy, and he's happy. Just listen to this radio station. You know what I mean? This rock and roll.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a perspective thing.
Mm-hmm.
At least that first part, right away. That's just what jumped out to me.
Yeah.
Just perspective. Like it's easy to fall into that, pattern of resentment. But if you put things into perspective, just you can be like really grateful for what you got. And I think that's what that, at least in those first three parts there.
Well, even at the end there, you've been up all night listening to this drum. Like, it's the same old drum. It's just, you're tired of the same old thing. Hoping something might change. Same thing with the verses prior to that. It's just same deal. It's like, yeah, you got shit to do. Shit's going on. Shitty life. But you can still enjoy items of that.
Small things, like just something on the radio,
Take stock of what you got in the moment.
Well, that's, Back's Turn Looking Down the Path was like that too. Like, some may have and some may not. God, I'm thankful for what I got. And, like, particularly in that song, I think it's, again, like I said, I think it's a sad, like, he's not the most successful guy in that song, but he's still grateful nonetheless. The Mohammed's Radio, he was at a bar in Aspen, Colorado on Halloween, and a retarded guy, for lack of a more sensitive term, came in and was dressed up like a sheik and had a transistor radio. So he saw that guy, and that's what inspired him to write the song. But I like the radio, like it's music can be that thing, but I also like the religious element too, like that he made it Mohammed's Radio. You know what I mean? Like, despite
you have to bleep out the M word.
Mohammed.
Yeah, since you're not,
I was like, wait, did you say M word or N word?
The M word.
What? Did I miss something?
No, I don't have to bleep, as long as I don't draw a picture of him and put it up as one of the images on the.
They wouldn't know if you're drawing a picture. They're just assuming. He doesn't sound. He sounds very white. He sounds like a very Anglo gentleman.
Yeah. Well, even South Park, who gets away with everything, wasn't allowed to do Mohammed.
Yeah,
so.
I thought they were done after that. I thought there was, but they made it through and still doing crazy shit. So.
Yeah.
They did end up drawing
Yeah, and they had to like censor it, and they had death threats and like all this like crap. I thought that was okay. That's gonna be the end of South Park. I remember like when it was happening, like that's gonna be it, and then they just kept. And Comedy Central backed them. They were like, yeah, we're just. Like Comedy Central, like you ever see that? What's it called? 5 or something days to air or whatever that thing is called. 6 days to air. Like Comedy Central, like they give them like in 6 days time, like what they and they make each episode in 6 days, and they give it to Comedy Central at the last minute. And Comedy Central has so much confidence in South Park, they just play it whatever, Like they don't know what's going to be on the episode or what's they just okay, play.
Yikes.
So,
Well,
Another
whatever happens kind of thing.
back on this Mohammed's radio, I've just been reading lyrics while you guys were chatting again, and I think I really do think that's the overall message is like perspective, because he talks about like what is rock and roll, and it's like the product of people who think they've nowhere to go, right? So ain't it a great way? You know, what did he say? But don't it make you want to rock and roll, right? People write
All night
people
long.
write about that, but it says you've been up night listening for his drum. So you've been listening to the music of rock and roll, but it says what to be watchful for is the lamp. So what you hear is, it's serving. You're listening for answers in the rock and roll when really it's not. All you're gonna find is everyone's like resentment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas the lamp is symbolic of where not to go. If it, you know what I mean? Like you're listening for his drum where you should be watching for his lamp, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the audio is like pertains to rock and roll music versus the lamp. You know what I mean? Or what are they trying to tell? Like here, this is a sad thing, but what's he trying to say with this song, right? Perspective.
Okay, yeah,
What's the
for sure.
what you're, you know what I mean? Like if you're listening for, it's just hard. It's hard to explain, but
Well,
I think that imagery is important. The drum versus the lamp.
Pay attention to where it's trying to lead you.
Yeah.
Well, there's a bit of a desperate part there. Like you've been up all night listening for his drum, hoping that the righteous might just like he repeats that line,
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
So just I'm gonna we don't have it on the record, but when they remastered this, they put out like some of the outtakes and stuff. So they did an alternate version. I like Desperados Under the Eaves a lot, but they did this alternate take, which I think they could have put the strings over, and it would have been great. But I just as a difference, this is so we just heard Desperados Under the Eaves, so this is one of the this was take 2. We have a guitar instead of just the strings.
I like the original.
Yeah.
See, because you heard it first.
No. I like
They
the
could have
original.
put the strings over this, I think.
No, I like the original.
I could have done without that, given
Yeah.
the weight of the song.
All right.
All right. Yeah.
You know why I don't? It's a great solo. It's a great solo, but I just don't think it fits.
Hold on, drums. Well, and I guess they agreed with you because they didn't go with this take, but
Yeah. I think what I'm thinking about it is like this sounds. Maybe I just don't understand the context of the song. But when I hear him say like I was listening to the air conditioner, like what does he mean by that?
Well,
what does he mean by this final part of the song?
Well, that's kind of what I like about it is like there's no happy ending, right? He's just
right
in the hotel miserable.
Exactly.
But like he's just stuck there listening to the air conditioner hum.
And that's why I think.
But then it kind of goes with the music and the song starts to play, and so it's like why I like it so much is it's a really sad song, but it's also like very uplifting. Like
okay.
And I think the strings do that, but I also I like the guitar.
I was gonna disagree actually.
Okay.
Because for like I feel like, or I mean I guess you can't disagree. I think you mean like the song was uplifting. The original song was uplifting. Or this guitar solo.
No. Yeah, forget this. The original song is, on its face, very sad.
Yeah.
Right? It's a guy who's at the end of his rope, and he's an alcoholic, and blah, 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 whatever. But then he's sitting there, and just the strings, like, really come in, like... He starts off with I was listening to the air conditioner humming, it went, and then, like, the strings really come in and kind of pick it up. So I thought it was, like, it's sad, but there's still hope.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think that's, okay, so with that context, I definitely agree, because it's hard because it's musically sending a message. So now that you've kind of, like, refreshed my memory, I think that why I like the strings more is because when you put that guitar solo in there, a lot of times a guitar solo, that's a really powerful way to send an uplifting message, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really like good vibes guitar solo that gave me, even though it's obviously blues. Whereas I think the strings bringing those in, like you have that upliftment, but it's still mixing in. It's a good mix of his current situation.
Yeah.
Whereas where he could be, whereas the guitar's like the end of a movie, like he's made it to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And that's not the situation he was in.
Yes,
right.
I agree.
So that's my take on it.
I agree. For me, it still accomplished that because, like, it still has the same, like, I don't know. They still accomplished the same, like, sad and uplifting at the same time.
Yeah, it blends the two together.
Yeah.
But so the other band I was searching for, I was like, oh, they had great session players on this. Members of the Eagles, the Beach Boys was another one. Carl Wilson arranged the harmonies on the last song.
Wow.
What better man?
Actually, I hate the Beach Boys, but
Hey, watch it.
I know. They were very good at harmonizing.
Yeah, that's
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
I
They were
mean,
good at
If there's any compliment you can give
Beach
to the
Boys
Beach
are great.
Boys, they were good at
I
harmonizing.
think they're super underrated. You don't like them either? You like my mom. My mom doesn't like the No one likes the Beach Boys. Except for me.
It's the worst. Ugh.
Why?
It just all sounds the same. I mean, maybe they did some other... Well, first of all, they plagiarized a lot of their stuff. They took Sweet Little 16. Surfing USA is Sweet Little 16 by Chuck Berry.
Okay. Boo. I'll have to bring
It's just...
Pet Sounds or whatever
I just
that
can't,
album
like,
is.
immediately when it comes on. No. I'll pass.
I think Beach Boys are. Back in high school, Dan Doolin and I used to call certain people Beach Boys.
Really?
Yeah, we'd hang out. We'd skip class and go to the pool hall, River City Billiards.
Yeah.
Like those fucking Beach Boys back at school. Not a fan. But hey, I'm sure they did things and stuff.
They're one of the greatest bands ever. I don't know what you guys are missing here.
No, I'm not missing anything. I'm very happy about.
I like.
losing that
Okay. Kokomo. I like the song Kokomo. So I'll give them that one.
Kokomo's not bad, but I prefer the rendition by the Muppets.
Yeah.
Chuck Berry would be a sick record to listen to.
Okay, that's...
Like Coronavirus Sick.
Yeah. Like Contagious.
You want to talk about...
Put the coin in the slot. You got to make it really hot. Hot. That was my shit.
Well, what's the song? Chuck Berry, very famous. Come on, just the one song. Marty McFly plays. I just can't think of it right now. Johnny Be Good.
Yeah.
It's uber famous, but that truly is one of my favorite songs ever, too. Johnny Be Good. You can't go wrong with Johnny Be Good.
The Uber famous.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the Uber Mensch.
Drinking beer, Wolf. Dunkel Weizen.
Yeah. Give me those umlauts.
All right. Final wrap up here.
Second go around
great.
was a massive improvement.
Okay.
I enjoyed it a lot.
I certainly saw the concept all the way through. Like, I pawned my Smith Corona. Like, I would assume for a writer, that's like the bottom of the bottom. Like, you get rid of your typewriter, and for heroin, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to meet my man.
Carmelita had a very, like, musically it was very, like, happy and but the lyrics are like so.
Yeah.
The lyrics are about all strung out on heroin on the outskirts of town. It's like a very happy.
It's a Zevon-esque.
Yeah.
Happy lyrics, troubling.
You just watch
content.
that progression or digression, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic. And Desperados under the Eaves, the last little look away, and like that last maybe 2 minutes of it was marvelous.
As an
The whole
ending
thing
to a
was good.
record, it's
Most certainly.
top notch. Creative with the humming.
The production was just out of this world.
Production.
That's what I was saying last week, Max. I listened back to it and I was like, all right, a fun drinking game would be take a drink every time we said production during the Childish Gambino.
But yeah, definitely my favorite Warren Zevon album is this album.
Yeah. To me, it's not even close.
Not even close.
A lot of people like
Check out
Excitable
that,
Boy.
That cover art too. They got righteous locks with the shadiest of shades. And draped lapels.
So
fucking madness.
They got this. So Jimmy Wachtel, Waddy Wachtel played guitar. He's a very famous session guitar player. He played guitar on pretty much every track, I think. So his brother Jimmy Wachtel was hired to do he was a photographer, so he got hired to do the cover art. So they got this shot. They snuck into the Grammys, and got that shot in front of a spotlight.
Nice.
He wasn't invited, but
That's funny.
Whereas Zevon was not invited.
yeah.
Zevon.
Yeah.
Zevon. Mr. Zevon.
Mr. Zevon.
Where do you think you're going, Mr. Zevon? You were not invited. Put that cigarette out.
But so he Zevon was originally like Zevon Stefisky or something. Like it's a Russian. His dad was a Russian immigrant and a gangster, a pretty high profile gangster. So that's to Mom couldn't be persuaded. Please don't marry this gambling man. But
a little bit more than gambling. Apparently.
Well, yeah, but that's a theme throughout the book. Like his dad wasn't around, but then he would just show up and like gave him a really nice car, and then would like disappear again, and then like come back and give him some more money, and All right, whose turn is it next week?
Me.
Oh, it's Joe.
Mr. Joe.
Any prospects?
Prospects will be the Beach Boys. No.
Certain I have appendicitis that day. Sorry, I'm missing it, guys.
I'm sick.
Might want to get into Silver Sun Pickups.
Okay.
Oh,
Their
sweet.
EP. They're before they're even a studio album. Their first studio album. It's called Pikel.
Okay.
P-I-K. It's pronounced like pie and then skull, but call. Yeah. Because if I can't find anything at Max's work, anything better than that's what we're gonna do.
Okay, sounds good.
Tight. All right, that wraps it up. Thank you for listening to the Record Night Podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. If you have suggestions for an album you think we should listen to, please leave a comment below. Or if you're interested in reaching out to the podcast, you can do so at recordnightpodcast@gmail.com. For Jake, Joe, and Kyle, I'm Collin. Once again, thank you for listening.
Jake makes me so fucking mad!